Hello, hello, hello. It is um, often a knee jerk reaction to say, let's just not talk about it because we believe that it brings more strife, more problems, more drama to the workplace. In light of the U.S. Supreme Court's latest decisions, um, so much emotion is associated with the results, the rulings, and there is bound to be conflict because of disagreements, because we have people on different sides, have different perspectives on these rulings. So, what are you going to do, leader? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you with your direct supports. I'm talking to you with your peers. I'm talking to you with your bosses. I'm talking to you in your nice, expensive suits and dresses. And I'm talking to you with um, your amazing and articulate way of conveying thoughts. I'm talking to you with your common sense and your in the way you are adept at dealing with issues. I'm talking to you, leader, today, asking a question: should you just bang end all political conversations in your workspace, just to be able to get some work done? I'm here to tell you that is absolutely moronic. I'm telling you that that is wrong. I'm telling you that it's not going to work. I'm telling you that when you suppress or try to control what is discussed and talked about in the workplace without giving thought and consideration to the way in which you handle and encourage discussions where there is conflict involved. If you just arbitrarily say, I don't want any drama in here, so these are the things we're not allowed to talk about. Don't bring this up. I don't want to know about your religious beliefs, your preferences. I don't want to know about your politics. I don't care whether you think Black Lives Matter or all lives matter, right? If you put that foolishness out there, then you are inviting more discord, more conflict. You just won't hear it out in the open, but it will seep into everything you're doing or trying to achieve. And I'm telling you, based on years of experience with engaging with people, leading people, being a part of a team, being led by others. It is about trust and communication. It is about respect for autonomy, right? Inside of whatever the rules and regulations are within your workspace. Oh, by the way, what's the federal rules about freedom of speech? Who does your particular organization cater to depend on for funding, for money? Those things you have to take into consideration also. At the same time, you must understand that these recent Supreme Court rulings are an opportunity for you as a leader, as someone in a positional leadership uh, position, if you will. You have the opportunity to, of course, have left and right limits, but the discussion itself could be about anything that is emotionally charged. Do you get that? It could be anything about surrounding what one person's belief is righteous and the way it should be. It could be anything surrounding that. So you want to build a model where you have a culture of being respectful to one another. You want to build a model where productivity um, is not slowed because someone doesn't like what another person believes, right? What another person says. So this is about being able to um, disagree and still be respectful. This is not about, um, the I don't agree with the way you talked to employee A as opposed to employee B. This is for you, the leader, to be consistent, right? To be consistent. And oh, by the way, I don't care. I'm going to tell you this. I don't care whether you agree or disagree in your capacity as the leader, as a positional leader. It I don't want to know. I'm going to tell you that right now. I really don't. I don't want to know whether you believe in the Christ, the Trinity. I don't want to know. I don't care. I do, by the way, but I don't care that you and I have that in common. If you are leading an organization, if you are in a position of authority over several people with different views, I don't need you espousing what you believe is right or wrong, because I know at some point you're going to disagree with me, right? I know at some point you are not going to agree with the way I raise my kid, or the way I believe in a woman's right to choose. I know at some point you're going to come for me. So I want you to be consistent throughout in the way you, as a leader in your position, um, are managing the workspace, because all you want is results, right? You want compliance, and you want acceptance, and you want to be respected in your leadership position. At the same time, um, this Supreme Court ruling gives you the opportunity to infuse um, some respectful expectations into your workspace, right? So let's talk about this just for a few minutes. A lot of leaders are worried about political conversations in the workplace because they're so risky, right? It's very risky. So when you think about, just employee activism, some of these conversations, sometimes it's discussions, they become like toxic, and you just cannot manage them. You create, or you might see, workspace discord. People are distracted from actually getting their job done. It kind of undermines productivity, because now I'm huffing and puffing about the way you have presented your views, right? As if your way is the only way. And so sometimes people are just um, not able to handle conflict or differences. And so sometimes organizations just say, poop, all together. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about, issues that are, just going to create a lot of discussion. And we don't want that. And in my mind, I think that is a missed opportunity, right? A missed opportunity. This is a live recording of the Better You Leadership Podcast. My name is Angela M. Odom. And what we're doing is teaching women how to lead themselves, how to lead organizations, and oh, by the way, how to just increase their leadership capacity. And one of the things I want you to understand on this episode is it's not for you to suppress conversations or discussions surrounding things that are volatile, emotionally volatile. It's an opportunity. I believe it's an opportunity to create a culture where differences are allowed, right? Because in the scheme of things, if we are respectful, and I can still do my work, and if I'm not making this thing personal, one employee is not making this thing personal, and we are able to, say whatever it is we have to say, put our point of view out there, and not, demonize the other person for believing something that's different from you, right? And let's just take a moment to consider what that looks like. So once you have the model where we can disagree and still be respectful of another person's individual thoughts and, all this kind of stuff, no matter how vile and crazy that might be, right? Or just so different from anything you have ever seen, right? Or even thought that another person could hold. But still, you want to be respectful, in that space. So if you ban political speech in your workspace, that comes with a lot of unintended, um, results, impact. And so you might look at whatever the different policy changes you want to put in place and the approach you use for that. Maybe because you are scared. Oh my God, you're scared. I don't. I need them on. I need the people on time, on task. I need them working. I don't need them sitting there talking about what they believe or not believe, right? And so I'm just telling you right now. I want you to think about um, how you are diminishing voices, how you are seeking to suppress thoughts. At the same time, you're probably in an organization that says, "Oh, we value diversity and we value inclusion," and yet you are afraid to, have this type of um, energy in your workspace, right? So you're in a position to, um, you really like help people. So when you ban political speech, it's really impossible to draw some type of objective line of how much political speech or religious speech or whatever it is, the difference of opinions is like enough. Like, how can you really regulate that? Because I'm going to talk about it, right? I'm going to wear it. I might wear my shirt, whatever it is. So you want to make sure whatever is acceptable. Who decides what's acceptable, by the way, right? So you think about those types of things ahead of times. These kinds of issues are debated in the political sphere. Often, um, they don't have a bearing on your company's goals or operation. They sometimes they do, and most of the time you have to be someone who is willing to um, keep people focused on the task at hand. Like, hey, we still got a job to do around here. At the same time, you will be respectful to everyone, right? You won't be calling anybody out their name, all that kind of foolishness. You want to make sure that uh, you know, you're open to these things. So there are different ways you can handle this. You can just ban it. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. And you better be on your job, right? All the time. You could build empathy and respect with others from, with other people's views. You could do that. You could build like political empathy in the organization. This could be, like, I don't even have time to deal with nobody else's, all the things that people care about. That's not my job. So you might be thinking that, right? So you can think about if you're having a meeting, right? And you're most likely having lots of meetings. you you might be meeting with one or two or three or 10 people or 100 people, whatever it is, on whatever the rotation, the time rotation is for you to meet with these different people. So if you're in person, people mill around, come into the room a few minutes early, and they mill around and like, "Hey John, how you doing? Hey Jane, oh God, it's good to see you. How your kids doing?" All those type of things. So you might, in your meeting time, if you're on Zoom or whatever, give people the space to just mill around, right? Give them the space to mill around and say whatever it is they're going to say to one another, as long as they're being respectful, right? Nobody's dropping any f bombs and calling people all kind of foolishness, right? But you give them the space to say those things, and then you bring it to order. And of course, you've sent an agenda out ahead of time, and so these are the things you're going to discuss during that meeting. So in that conversation, though, if it comes up, wow, what do you do with that as the leader, as the boss, as the person that's managing this particular time? Then act like a grown up, right? Don't suppress it. Handle it head on, and then say, okay, bam, whatever it is, then let's get back to what we came here to do. Right? Don't run away from it, is my point, right? And give people the space to have this conversation. Not you're leading it. I don't care what your opinion is about it as the person in charge of this particular portion of your company, your organization. I don't care. Don't you go out talking about, oh, that Supreme Court decision was trash, or it was, oh my God, that was the best thing ever. I don't want to hear that from you. No, I do not. I don't care to hear that from you. That I believe is um, problematic, right? Because now the person who agrees with you um, and the person that disagrees with you, they have a decision to make, right? So cut that out. And then, so the first part is just build empathy and respect for other people's view, like inside of your organization, just uh, by your policies, by the way you treat people, then you have respect. People should not always agree with every single thing you say and do. What kind of organization is that, right? And so you want to invite different perspectives into the senior leadership fold, right? You want to have people with different views on your team, because what does that translate into? It translates into diversity, and then when you include them in decision making, you're going to get different views and perspectives. You like, for example, Walmart, right? I think it was like last month, maybe Juneteenth. Of course, June 19th, Juneteenth, but last month in May, Walmart came out with some foolish Juneteenth ice cream, and someone had actually trademarked. You can't trademark Juneteenth dodo. You can't do that. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, when they came up with that design, who did they have on their team to even say, not a good idea, guys, girls, guys, team, not a good idea. Let's not do this. This is going to be ugly. This is not. This is going to impact the bottom line negatively. This is going to impact the way people see us as clowns. This is the same type of perspectives. We need different perspectives, and we're able to listen to the different perspectives because they matter in the bottom line, in getting things done, in achieving results, in developing people to lead at the next level, trusting people to get things done. All those things matter. So you want to invite different perspectives into your senior leadership roundtable, if you will, right? You want to make sure that your opinion is not the only opinion that's heard the majority of the time. You know, it's good to have people to confirm or affirm, your perspectives. That's great. Oh, by the way, however, if that's all you ever hear, then you got an issue. I'm going to tell you that straight out, right? So it takes skills and self-awareness for leaders to welcome different opinions. It takes skills and self-awareness. Um, so a leader we've worked with, actually, I think I read this thing about some company actually introducing a devil's advocate into the teams. Not the same as like someone who's always throwing arrows at every single thing you bring up, but someone who's that is their role, and it's a different person. It's a different person each time. So if you had like 10 meetings, right, and you have like 10 people at the meeting, well, person one would be your whole purpose in being here today is to be adept to live in the devil's advocate role for our team, right? That way you don't have this whole group think. And then, the next meeting, number two, would be able to handle that role. So what does that do? It allows for different thoughts, different perspectives. And of course, if you discuss what you are doing, what results you're seeking, the reason for the meeting, you put out an agenda, everybody knows the time, you start on time, you end on time, all those kind of things. And then, oh, by the way, hey, Angie, you're doing the devil's advocate role on meeting number 3, right? And so that would be the same kind of thing. We want to be able to um, know how to deal with conflict. We want to know how to deal with being challenged, our ideas. That is the beauty of this opportunity, right? And then another thing is to accept mistakes gracefully. As accept mistakes gracefully. I noticed that the angriest, is that how you said it? The angriest I've ever been has been surrounding being challenged on my religious beliefs, my political beliefs, and the way I raised my son. Been like pissed off, right? And what I know also is um, in those moments, I'm not necessarily the most articulate, I'm not the most polished, and I'm definitely off message, right? Because I'm probably dropping some F bombs. I'm telling you right now, just all kind of stuff pushing back on whatever the other person is trying to push on me. And so, and most of the time, it really was just trying to help me as I look back, right? So just know that, just think about that. So you want to accept mistakes gracefully because when people are being challenged or new ideas, different ideas are being proposed, or someone is being self righteous, and you're like, "Oh, that's pissing me off," right? I don't like that at all. Then, in that moment of passionate dissent, the conversation, then you're going to look to understand that look and understand that people are most likely the most inarticulate and unskilled in this moment because it's like raw, right? And so you want to be accepting in this moment. You as the person in charge, you and the positional leader, right? And at that moment, that's the whole emotional intelligence or the way to self-regulate is gone. And so you want to be respectful of people. So you want to teach people how to disagree. That's the whole point of this episode. You want to teach people how to disagree. You want to develop the ability to disagree well. Um, this will have benefits for the company way into the future. Able to disagree well. You want to be able to handle political difference, religious difference, just conflict in general. So this is like an integral part of the organization's ability to innovate. Just think about that for a minute. Being able to disagree well, being able to accept other people's opinions or their views, even though they are crazy, they're wrong, all this kind of thing, right? So you want to know that being able to disagree well actually lends itself to the organization being more innovative, right? As opposed to, let's just squash all disagreement, all political discourse, all disagreements, or talking about religion. Um, yeah. So what does that look like overall? What does that translate to? So you want to make people more comfortable with conflict. Conflict is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It is not necessarily awful. Conflict is not. So what you have to do as a leader, you have to model disagreeing, and you have to model disagreeing well. And you can model that with your boss, right? And you can model that with your peers, and you can model disagreeing with your direct reports, and you allow them to disagree well with one another. So at one company, I read about this, right? One company, the leaders they're really open about conflicts that exist at the board level, and they explain the disagreements, and then they also talk about the successful resolutions, because that's what's essential to performing well. Imagine working in a place where everybody agreed with what you did and what you said and the way you presented yourself. shut up with that, right? Shut all the way up with that. So this episode is really at the heart of it. This is about disagreeing well. It's about understanding that conflict is natural when you have different people, diverse group of people. You have people with a backbone. You have people with their own thoughts and experiences. You have all of this. So to disagree well, organizations must understand that disagreement turns destructive, right? Awful, destructive, toxic, only when it is seen by one or both parties as um, a battle where I'm right and you're wrong, and I don't have the space. Um, I don't have the space to process it in that moment. I don't believe I'm safe. I don't trust you. All those things, right? Um, so some people lean on mediation, for a training method, train people how to mediate um, conflict with their team and with their peers and with their bosses. Train people how to de-escalate. I'm not saying so. For me, I am not the person who is going to back away from what I believe. But I do know that I can shut my big old mouth long enough to listen to the other person's perspective and still stand strong in what I believe. Right? I'm going to listen to you, all that kind of stuff, back and forth, blah 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 blah. Um, and then I'll decide whether what you said has changed my mind, not you, right? And most likely, probably 90% of the time, I am not going to be disrespectful to you as a person, as an individual. I will let you know that I know how to do it. I know how to do it well. I know how to make someone feel small. I know how to do it. I know how to go to the jugular. I just tell you that it's unnecessary because I know for sure, because I've done it, right? It's not productive in the long run. So, bottom line is you want to focus on ensuring people are um heard, right? And that they understand it, that um, really, unless they are being violent, abusive, unless they're being, violent, abusive, or just downright stinky crazy, right? Um, then it's okay for them to voice their opinions as long as they're not um, taken from what you're here to do today. In the workspace, you're there to perform a particular task. So if it's not taken away from that, then okay, got it. So if you have an impulse to ban political speech or religious speech in your organization, it may actually signal that the organization cannot handle differences or challenges. Um, and how are you going to be agile and innovative over time if anytime there is something that's um, different from what someone believes, some differences, some challenges, how are you going to move your organization forward with that, right? So, this is what I want you to understand. First and foremost, this the recent rulings of the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, are there's so much emotional um, interest in the rulings. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. So for me, I believe in a woman's right to choose her own, what happens to her body, her whole health care. I believe she should have the opportunity to have a private conversation with her doctor, with her family, with her boo, with her mama, with her whatever she wants. Or I believe she don't have to tell anybody. I believe that. And at the same time, like um, I've never had an abortion. But I would tell you that I just believe that's her choice. And so, same thing, I think the Supreme Court, one of the other rulings was something surrounding Miranda rights, like for whatever reason, police officers or whatever, they don't have to tell you that. They don't have to say you have the right to remain silent. And now you go running off at the mouth about every little thing and get yourself, dig yourself deeper into something awful, right? Now you are in legal jeopardy because you're new, right? And so, what am I telling you? Is you are operating in a position of trust and authority. And you have several people within your organization that are dependent on you to create a space, a culture of trust and respect. Right. And so if you go in saying, don't talk about politics in here and don't talk about religion in here, and they're just like, somebody's going to say, well, like, should I say this? Can I say that? What about this? It's going to spill over because it's subjective. So of course, you have, freedom of speech and all these kind of things, right? So go read your own policies within your organization and make sure that you're clear on what the laws are in your, like for the country, and then for the state, and then of course for your organization. Right? Make sure you're clear on those types of things first, right? And then um, you want to create a space for people to disagree, respectfully disagree. You want to create a space for that. Then you as the person, you as the leader, I'm talking to you, leader, just like I just told you exactly what I believe. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't lead with that, right? Don't lead with that. Don't lead with that. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not going to work out for you. Don't lead with that. And don't be all over social media um, if you can't afford it. And I mean, if you can't afford it in losing that job, right? Losing that position, losing the respect of the people around you. However, if you own the company, you own the organization, and you all tailor your your services, your products to women or to men or to whatever it is, to then go for it because that's who you are. But most of the time, most of us, well, not me, not me anymore, but most people work for an organization that has a specific brand, something that they are attempting to sway people to believe about their organization. And they're not going to put up with you with your own individual nastiness or foolishness, right? Your disrespect of others, which will, in the end, impact their money. So be aware of that. Be aware of that because me, Angela M. Odom, I post all kind of things. I post all kind of things, right? But you can't do what I do. Let's just keep it real. You cannot do what I do. So better you leadership, right? Better you leadership. This podcast episode is really about teaching you how to lead yourself, others, and how to manage processes so that you increase your leadership capacity. The very first thing I want you to do is just think about um, what do you have that you can, share with others. What do you have? What do you bring to the table, as in conversation and approach, communication, your skill sets? And I really like being around people who have different perspectives, right? I like being around people when I'm going to do workshops, speeches, panel discussions, who are professional. Start on time, end on time. I like that. Pay what they said they're going to pay. I like that. And I do not, I do not from where I am right now. I do not want to be embroiled in any um, foolishness. So teach your people how to handle conflict. Teach your team how to show up and focus on the task at hand. It's not okay to talk about all these extraneous things in certain situations, right? I hope that makes sense to you. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a Better You Leadership shirt, and you can get your own copy, your own shirt, different sizes at the Odom General Store. That's odomgeneralstore.com. Odom, Odom, generalstore.com. It gets you some. It feels really good, by the way. It's good material, black, white, whatever colors you might want. I also like it in gray and white. So I'd love to hear your comments. Make sure you put them down below. Um, and with that, teach your people how to have disagreeable conversation. Teach your kids that too. I'm teaching my son that, right? Teach your kids. Teach your. No, I'm sorry. Teach your direct reports how to deal with being challenged. Teach them how to really embrace the idea of diversity and including people, right? Because we're not all going to like the same things. We're not also all going to agree on all these same topics. We're not going to agree. And just think about what that means in this context. And you pull this conversation on this recent Supreme Court rulings, and you pull that out and you replace it with different um, different topics, different things that people disagree about within your organization, right? And then how do you approach that? So just, it's okay. I'm just telling you that it's okay. With that said, you all have an amazing day, and take care of yourself. Be safe, right? Be safe. Be safe. Be safe. And wishing you much love and much respect. Take care.